gonna attack it when defending.
I think it's like
people deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, bro. Come on.
Just like Ian Wright said there, people deluded, I'm back again. Now, allegedly, courtesy of David Ornstein, Charlie Patino is set to leave Arsenal this summer on a permanent deal as he seeks first-team football elsewhere. Let's see exactly what the Athletic writer has said specifically about current teenage midfielder, who is obviously doing well at Blackpool, fighting relegation. Arsenal teenager Charlie Patino set to leave club permanently in the summer. Arsenal talent Charlie Patino is expected to leave the Emirates Stadium on a permanent basis this summer, with the club receptive to his desire to seek regular first-team football. The 19-year-old midfielder has spent the season on loan at Blackpool, excelling despite the championship-sized difficult campaign that has ended in relegation. Arsenal activated an option to extend Patino's contract until 2025, but he's unlikely to feature in Mikel Arteta's plans next season, especially given the intention to upgrade their midfield before returning to the Champions League. Like fellow youngster Balogun, Patino prefers not to make another temporary switch from Arsenal and is prepared to pursue his career elsewhere. Amicable talks have taken place with Arsenal, who are ready to help facilitate a switch amid growing interest from the UK and abroad. Patino has represented England at youth level but holds an Spanish passport through his father, which creates more possibilities for the creative midfielder at club and international level. As you know, he joined us from Luton Town at 11, has made 2 senior appearances. Now, the first thing I get when I see that is removing my Arsenal cap. I understand it, like Balogun, at this stage, stability. They don't really want to go on loan each and every season. They want to be somewhere they can kind of be stable, have some roots and develop. And I can't blame Patino. Once you've been exposed to first team football like he has at Blackpool, where he's done very well for the large part. He's obviously had games he's not done well enough, been sent off in a relegation battle. Nothing psychologically, mentally, and actually on the football field, nothing in youth football can replicate first team football. So I get it. He's been given that drug. Charlie Patino at 19, I don't know how far he's going to go in the game, but he's going to have a future. I'd be keen to see him go abroad, really, such as his play. As Arteta said, we have to slow cook Charlie. I don't think he's ready to start week in, week out at Arsenal. And you've got to look at the pathway at this moment in time, whether you rate Lokonga or not. Lokonga was bought for 17, 18, up to 20 million quid, and he's on loan. He's in front of him. You've got Xhaka, Jorginho, Thomas Partey, El Nene on paper, all in front of him. Talks of bringing in Declan and Caicedo and all of these guys, minutes of, and obviously you got Fabio Vieira, Smith Rowe, Odegaard, who can play there. And where Arsenal are going, there's going to be less opportunity. So I could understand him wanting to go elsewhere. I actually rate him and Balogun, not necessarily just signing a new deal and being parked off. That would be great from the club's point of view. The youngsters have to do what they're doing. Now, it's expected he leaves. It's not confirmed he leaves. He is contracted until 2025, so a lot can happen in a year. But you'd imagine he needs to be moved. He needs to be moved on elsewhere, and we'll get our fee and keep it moving. So it is disappointing, but I do like the fact that him and Balogun want to be out of their comfort zone. As long as Arsenal can make top money on their Haaland prospects, why not? Mikel Arteta hasn't necessarily used a great deal of the Haaland youngsters, even though they've been on the bench. As he said, Patino needs to be slow cooked. So maybe, the curry goat isn't quite cooked yet. So it'd be disappointing, but he needs to go elsewhere, really, if that's what's going to happen, and take his future into his own hands. 19 years of age, 20. Obviously, this coming October, he's got a fantastic attitude, has 33 championship appearances to his name, has 36 appearances for Blackpool all in all, and has large part got regular football and done quite well, and probably over-exceeded expectations in terms of playing time. So it makes sense. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but as long as the club make top money, it is what it is. Obviously Charlie Patino is a youngster I've got a lot of time for. I was once given the pleasure of being allowed to interview him, and I think he's got a fantastic mentality. He's very humble, does a lot of charity work, and I think he just wants to, not that I know him anywhere, but I think he just wants to better his career. I can't blame him. You do the maths, first team football is going to be limited. it's a shame because you'd imagine beyond next season, pathways would start to open up naturally. You'd imagine El Nene, Xhaka, Partey, Jorginho, these guys could be moved on, but I can't begrudge him really. If he wants to go somewhere where they're going to play him and it gets him from A to B quicker, a year from now, he's even better. Why not? Because the club is going to, like every club, they're going to tell you everything under the sun. If he wants confirmed plans for his future, why not? And you've only got one career to live. And I like how these young British youngsters in general are seizing the opportunity, really. I think Patino's getting better physically, starting to assert himself in the game, developing a lot. You got to remember, the man's 19, innit? But you don't necessarily get time at a big club. And the thing that goes against all these young players is evidently Arsenal need to address midfield. We need to improve midfield, and we need results now. Fans want to challenge for titles. Fans, you know, as much as fans waffle about seeing young players develop, you see how quickly they turn on young players, and you can't have it both ways, really. And as we get better as a football club, the opportunities are not really going to be there. I think one thing that was a benefit to Joe Willock at the time, Eddie Nketiah, Smith Rowe, Saka, and anyone else to a degree, Martinelli, is that the club hasn't been competing properly on the domestic front. Any youngsters trying to come in now that we're not there yet, but we've polished a bit of things and there's less opportunities, and we look better and more competitive, naturally there's going to be less chances to break in. Evidently his game time is going to be limited next season. You're not going to get too much football in any comp. So I would have thought regardless he would have went out on loan again. Maybe he doesn't want to do that. As long as Arsenal can get decent fees, of course I'd like a sell-on clause and a potential buyback clause, but probably not going to get that. I'd be keen to see him abroad, man. I think he'll do well in Holland. I think he'd do well in France. I think he would do well in Spain. He's very technical. He's shown he can equip himself in the Championship, even though his skill set is not to be tenacious and flying to tackles. He's never hidden from the physical aspect of the game. He likes responsibility. I think he's ready for men's football. And you don't want to get caught in that trap where you're playing with the first team, you're training with the first team, but you're playing 21s. And once you've been given that drug of first team football, it's difficult to go back. So if he does leave, I wish him all the best. Of course, it's bitterly disappointing, you know, with him or Mari Hutchinson and the rest of them. There'll probably be another couple of Haaland youngsters to leave, but I wish Charlie all the best. He has a supporter in me, whether he stays at Arsenal or not. So please let me know your thoughts. Smash the like button, etc., etc. I'm out.
There's always that active defending.